This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is one of the most respected contrarian voices in the resource space and someone I call a friend, Mr. Jeff Phillips. Jeff, how are you today? Thank you for coming on.
Doing well, Gerardo. Thank you for having me.
Listen, it's the end of August. A lot of people are still out of the office enjoying the last days of summer. And despite what seems to be a very quiet and unenthusiastic market in the gold space and even the base metal space, the battery metal space is absolutely on fire. I wanted to reach out. I wanted to talk all things resource space, but I wanted to start with the bright spot, which of course so far has been the lithium space. There was a big announcement this morning from Volkswagen joining the chorus of automakers that want to start taking a stake in battery metals companies. And so I wanted to get your take. I wanted to see, how you feel about the space. And then let's get into, as always, some specific names that maybe you've done well with and some names that you think you're still going to do well with.
Yeah, Gerardo, that sounds good. Yeah, you mentioned the Volkswagen news. I think that, again, we've been predicting that the automakers, we're going to have to get in the natural resource space now for 12 years, at least I have, whether it be rare earths or graphite or lithium or cobalt, and it always takes longer. And I think you may have also seen the news a couple of days ago, and I used to think this was going to happen 12 years ago, that Materials, which is a major rare earth processor, most of their capacity in China, who produces most and sells most of the refined rare earths, but they also have a plant in Europe. They announced yesterday, back from my rare earth days when I was involved with a lot of the rare earth companies, they announced the acquisition of Hudson's Greenland rare earth project, which again, and to supply their Estonia in Europe plant, the only real plant outside of China that they have. So I think you're starting to see a lot of these bigger companies move into the space and look at how they're going to secure the raw materials and process those. So yeah, the Volkswagen news and Mercedes was excellent. So. And what was the second part of your question?
The second part of my question is let's get right into some names that you've done well with. Clearly, you feel that it's not just unlike the rare earth days, a 1-year cycle in the lithium space. It sounds like you feel this is going to last for several years with automakers coming in trying to secure the raw materials they need to remain competitive. And so would you agree with that part, that this is going to be a multi-year bull market, unlike the rare earth days back in the 2010, 2011 mania, where a lot of people, including yourself, did really, really, really well, but that was a short-lived bull market. Do you think this lithium bull market continues on further?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a new bull market that's going to last throughout the rest of the decade. That being said, if you have a major financial crisis or the market sell off massively, on paper, you're down owning some of the best stocks out there. But again, there's some assets out there that are only going to increase in value over time. It's, timing that entry point. You asked me about several lithium deals. I think last time we did an interview was the beginning of summer, and I said I wasn't buying a lot of resource stocks. I was getting ready to. I have been buying a few in the market. I've participated in a few private placements in August when nobody wants to write checks. Those have mostly been in lithium companies. I think you saw the news yesterday, because I know we're both shareholders. I'm a fairly large shareholder of Patriot Battery Metals. Again, I believe your subscribers and I participated in a big way in their original financing a little over a year ago at 16 cents. So I'm sure your subscribers are quite happy with that. It only takes one company at 16 cents to be at $5 to make up for a few misses, right?
Absolutely.
So, but their news yesterday, again, the markets, have been rough this year, but their news yesterday that they've added, I can't think of Ken's last name, but he's the ex-chairman and the person who brought the last spodumene mine in Australia into production from exploration to an $8 billion market cap company today, that he's joined their board, and even more so that his options are being set at $7 and $9.20 when the stock's trading, it's up to $5 today, is a pretty good indication of how someone who sits on the London Metals Exchange Lithium Advisory Board and has built a major lithium mine in the same type of metal feels about that project. That being said, so your listeners know, I own, millions of shares and at much cheaper prices. If I didn't own any, I would probably buy shares on the news today. betting that he thinks his options are going to be worth a lot of money. He's built an $8 billion lithium company before. So that's great news, especially for your subscribers who are in it. Well, I think you put people in the placement, but you've recommended that stock multiple times, and every time at lower prices than it trades today, correct?
That's absolutely right. We helped finance it at 16 cents. Subscribers to Junior Resource Insider participated there. That also had a full warrant at 25 cents, which obviously is very much in the money. Junior Resource monthly subscribers then got a recommendation at 34 cents. And we even put a trade on at 43 cents, if I'm not mistaken, in the trading service. And so obviously all three positions, different approaches, some longer term, some shorter term, but have done well. And look, as you mentioned, it's been, it's been a heck of a run. And I think there's a lot of runway. I agree with you 100%. But yeah, it only takes one Patriot Battery Metals from 16 cents to $5 with runway to make the rest of the portfolio look better. The gentleman, by the way, that you mentioned was Ken Brinsden, who was CEO of Pilbara Minerals, which, by the way, is a nearly $10 billion lithium company that he helped build that has a massive cash position. So the appointment of him as a non-executive chairman is interesting and strategic, to say the least. Lastly, I'll say there's an Australian exchange listing that is upcoming for Patriot, which I think will be very well received given the amount of cash that Mr. Brinsden has made Australian investors in the past. So no, look, it's always great to celebrate a win with Patriot. It's been a good one thus far. Any other maybe more speculative companies on your radar in the lithium space, Jeff?
The couple I just financed, I'm not really going to talk about, only because I'm still, I put a sizable amount of money in down in the Lithium Triangle, and I like that area in South America. But, one of the other high-risk lithium companies I own a lot of, and I also consult for it in full disclosure, is Nevada Sunrise Gold. We joked that they should change their name to Nevada Sunrise Lithium, but I've told you I still like their gold asset, Kinsley Mountain, that they have in Nevada, and with a joint venture partner. But they've made a lithium discovery, clay discovery in Nevada. And there's a number of clay companies that have done very well, even though it hasn't been proven yet that a clay deposit can actually will be economic at producing lithium. There's a number of Canadian companies that raised tens of millions of dollars on those, and Nevada Sunrise looks to have something very similar. And hopefully they only put two holes a kilometer apart, but as they drill that out, it should get hopefully it gets closer to surface, and I think that will spark some interest. But the real speculation there is that they had lithium in brine water, sort of a different kind of brine, a muddy brine. And it was getting stronger as they drilled the hole, and they never got through the clay. So what is really interesting is if there's a brine deposit there that flows, enough to be economic, that's a company maker, similar to Patriot Metals, right? We don't know that that's going to happen. But, with a $20 million market cap and a clay deposit already discovered in a gold asset, it's an interesting speculation, right? That's what it is, a speculation. So that's one that I'm very excited. They'll be drilling in September, and I'm looking forward to the drilling. Hopefully you and I are doing an interview and talking about it at much higher prices and why it's still undervalued. But it is possible that, they'll drill more clay and won't hit the more brine, and it'll still be something that backstops the value, but it may not be five-fold, tenfold type return, and which it can be with a major discovery of a brine deposit.
Now, and again, just to be completely transparent for those of you that maybe aren't subscribers to the paid services that I manage, look, Patriot is my single largest personal holding, so I am biased on that front. Nevada Sunrise Gold, is my second largest holding, so I'm clearly biased and rooting for success there. Let's talk about being a contrarian, Jeff. I joked the other day, I was joking with co-owner of this company, Mr. Nick Hodge, and I was joking and said everybody wants to be a contrarian, but nobody wants to go through the buy low part of the buy low, sell high. And he said, well, Gerardo, how much lower are some of these gold names going to go? I keep buying low and they keep going lower. So I wanted to get your take on being a contrarian and what, if anything, in the gold space you actually like.
Oh, it's tough being a contrarian. So, and it gets tougher the less cash you have. I like a mentor of mine, Jim Dimes, used to say, and he passed away, rich or poor, it's good to have cash. So again, when you're speculating or investing, it's always good to have a cash cushion because things can you can be right and things can go the wrong way for a period of time, and it can be difficult. And you can also be wrong. I mean, again, let's face it. You can be a contrarian and things don't work out. The drill doesn't work out, or the metallurgy doesn't work out when it comes to resource investing. Or in biotech, the phase 3 trial doesn't work. So, you gotta be able to withstand a time. And to be a contrarian means you're happy to buy something you have conviction in at cheaper prices than you've paid in the past, and you really hope that it goes even lower so you can buy more of it. So I'm hesitant to tell you. You've asked me a couple times about what I'm buying this summer. And there's only a few stocks I've bought in the open market. I've done some private placements because I see value. But you want me to go ahead and tell you the stocks I'm buying in the open market?
I would absolutely love just maybe a brief couple of names here before we let you off. I absolutely enjoyed the time and appreciate it. But yeah, before I let you go, I got to get a couple of names quickly if you don't mind.
Well, I'm going to give you one I'm still buying, so I hope no one's listening to your interview. But anyway, but a good example is something I think offers, tremendous speculation potential is a company called Almenix Minerals, one of the Polycans group of companies. Pretty simply, Almenix trades at the market cap right now is probably about, 16 to 17.5 million, 15 to 17.5 million. They have 17.5 million in cash in the bank, which actually went up last quarter, even with all the listing fees and everything else. And the reason that money's gone up is because they own 6 rigs that are they use for themselves when they're drilling their own properties, but they rent those out and they're actually making money. They actually made money the last 6 months, and they'll probably not only cover all their costs but their own exploration costs this year on their own properties. So I'm paying less than cash for a company that besides having their own drill rigs, also has some very interesting exploration properties. The Polycans have discovered 3, 4, 5, 6 deposits. Morgan's done 3, and since he joined the company, and Morgan's Dwayne's son. So they're drilling a project in Nevada now, and again, that money's being paid for by renting their rigs out. They've also just reacquired 100% of a zinc asset in Canada that they used to have 20% of, that was stuck in a bankruptcy with a Chinese company that had a producing zinc mine. And this was their second plan, and it got all locked up. Well, they've gotten 100% of it back. That's a very large drilled off zinc deposit in Canada. I mean, there's many companies in Canada that would be their asset, and that's what they'd be raising money on at probably higher market caps than Almenix trades today. So, and then you factor in that Almenix has 2 royalties on 2 projects that total almost 6 million ounces of gold in Mexico. Mexico's difficult right now, but I think those will become mines. Almenix to me is the ultimate contrarian play. I'd love to see the stock drop from 26 cents to 13 cents and someone to sell me 2 million shares at 13 cents. But I've bought several million shares, or at least 1 million shares probably in the last 3 months, anywhere between 25 and 30 cents. So hopefully no one's listening to you, but that'll be a good example of what it looks like.
Spoken like a true contrarian, Jeff. Obviously still like Patriot Battery Metals, still like Nevada Sunrise Gold for both the gold optionality and the lithium action there. And then Almenix Minerals. Jeff, it's always a pleasure. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you go?
Yeah, the only other company I've been buying, and we can talk about this later, is a little company in Peru, which Peru's got its own political problems, but Michael Hudson's Hamon Metals. I've paid higher prices for it, and I'm happy to buy some here at these prices. I think that project is not really a project. It's really one of the largest. It's the largest holding of any small company in Peru. It's you'd have to give the measurements, but it's massive, and it's a new style of. They have a joint venture on one of their massive properties with Jogmeg, which is like a $30 million joint venture, and they're spending the money, $2 million this year, but. Their other project they have 100% of, and it's massive, and they've identified, I forget, is it 5 porphyry targets there? It's been explored. It's the kind of thing that, people that are much more knowledgeable than me in the resource space and have been around longer than me look for. It's, but you have to be patient. I think that'll develop into, over the coming years into a major asset. So I've been buying that stock also.
Well,
but that's about it.
I'm biased there as well. I think anybody that's followed my work for any period of time knows how I feel about Hamon and the expectation on how it will perform over the coming several years. Jeff, enlightening and insightful as always. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to catching up in person soon.
Thank you, Gerardo, and we'll go over a few more companies next time.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.